You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, police in Webb City investigate a suspicious device found at a gas station.
Plus, a look at the history of one of the oldest cemeteries in the Joplin area.
And we've got a pretty cold start to our Tuesday out there, but temperatures will be warming up. Take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
You know, instead of the birds, I think we should change it to bats for Halloween.
We'd have to get good video of bats,
right?
Though,
Wouldn't that be
still,
neat?
I just can't, I don't get the birds, but yeah.
But good morning, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Tuesday morning across the area. So, boy, I tell you, if you missed the end of our KOAM show,
yes.
First off, great musical performance by Cody Howell. That was flawless.
So good. And
our
he's right
birthdays
here.
and anniversaries.
That had a couple slip-ups.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I said by accident that it was Monday, and it just
Chain
Monday.
reaction.
Don't curse your day. Don't accidentally say that the day is Monday, because as we just learned, it will very rapidly turn into a Monday across the area.
But this show is going to be really exciting because we get to sit down with Cody and hear about his experience, how he made it over in Nashville. So we always love supporting a local boy that made it big. Very, very cool.
We've got another fantastic local story for you this morning.
That's right, a unique volunteer opportunity that both honors the past and the future.
KOAM's Amber Jenkins introduces us to a caretaker looking for help to bring a cemetery back to life.
All different types of people that are buried here. Rich, poor, black, white.
Roughly 1,400 stories, lessons, and lives lived lies underneath the ground. Caretaker Jim Beeler says he doesn't want the history to become forgotten history.
It has a lot of history as the beginnings before Joplin was ever here. And when you're looking at the 1840s, Joplin didn't come in until 1873.
Preservation is exactly why Peace Church Cemetery is inviting the community to take a tour and listen to stories behind the headstones. The hope? To inspire more volunteers like Doris Berryhill.
We've had ladies come out here. Matter of fact, one of our board members, she was 85 years old. She just passed away recently, and she was out here every 2 weeks doing something here at the cemetery. This was one of her best things, Doris Berryhill.
Beeler says supplies, donations, and volunteers like Berryhill keeps the cemetery alive.
Individuals that would want to volunteer, it takes about an hour every 2 weeks, so it's not a whole long time. We don't want people out here getting overheated or breaking their neck to try to maintain the spots.
Reporting in Jasper County, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Peace Church Cemetery historic tours will be held at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturday.
A very unique cemetery with a very unique past.
I think that's fascinating,
to get out there, you've got to go check it out.
That.
So make sure you take advantage of one of those tours. And the good news is, at least for this Saturday, shouldn't have to bundle up too much. Looking pretty good, not just for that, but for Maple Leaf festivities as well across the area. As we look outside, our camera 7th and range line showing us a beautiful sunrise. Unfortunately, it is also quite cold out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also showing us those clear skies across the region, but we do have frost advisories through 8 a.m. for northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas, 9 a.m. for the bulk of southeast Kansas. There are 2 far northern counties. Those run until 10 a.m. And the only reason there's so many times is because we have 4 different National Weather Service offices that cover our viewing area here. Springfield covers the rest of it. So yeah, it gets a little confusing sometimes when it comes to these different advisories. Cold out there though, 39 in Joplin, 37 in Pittsburgh right now. Again, both with clear skies. We get our morning started. There is some patchy fog out there. I'm looking at the fog tracker, not much showing up. It's mainly in those rural and low-lying areas, and that'll burn off by about 9, leaving us mostly clear skies and a relatively cool start, but we will warm up as we go into the low 50s by late morning. We'll have another look at your forecast and talk about that warm-up and next week's potential storm chances here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Police in Webb City have given an all-clear alert after investigating a suspicious device. The device was discovered yesterday morning at the Murphy USA gas station on South Madison. A portion of the parking lot was closed off by police, but other surrounding businesses remained open and were unaffected. Webb City Police requested aid from the bomb squad of the Springfield Fire Department, who determined the device was not a threat. Anyone trying to file electronically with the Kansas court system recently found themselves unable to do so, and for good reason. The Kansas court's e-filing system has been offline since the judicial branch experienced a security incident late last week. The security incident affected several systems used daily by courts statewide, including the e-filing system attorneys use to file documents in cases, the case management systems district and appellate courts use, and other systems. Courts are open and operating, but clerks cannot receive electronic filings or electronic payments. All filings must be on paper or by fax. The Cherokee Nation signs a historic agreement to provide a VA clinic inside the tribe's Vinita Healthcare Center. The tribe will provide around 1,300 square feet of leased space for the VA clinic, which is set to open around the new year. The VA clinic will serve both Native veterans and non-Native veterans in the region, and the VA clinic will also include a waiting room, exam rooms, work areas, parking, and will work hand in hand with the Vinita Health Center to accomplish lab and x-ray services. The Eastern Oklahoma VA healthcare system serves about 53,000 veterans. The new VA clinic in Vinita will be one of 5 outpatient clinics operated by the VA. The city of Parsons, Kansas reports a mountain lion sighting over the weekend. The mountain lion was documented on a security video, the location along the northeast edge of the town near Lebec Creek. While this mountain lion is likely no longer in the city, residents should remain alert. If the mountain lion is spotted in town, residents should promptly contact the Parsons Police Department. Since 2007, mountain lions have been confirmed more than 60 times in Kansas. Up next, why Family Dollar is recalling a large number of over-the-counter drugs and medical products. And later, why the price of the life-saving COVID-19 medication Paxlovid is likely to rise next year. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch this morning, the price of the life-saving COVID-19 medication Paxlovid is likely to rise next year. This as the United States continues to transition out of the emergency phase of the pandemic. That has some doctors concerned it will become less accessible and the antiviral drug will move from being available free to everyone through the government purchases to a more traditional commercial marketplace for most patients at the end of this year. That's according to the Department of Health and Human Services and drug maker Pfizer. The new price, the cost before insurance, hasn't been set but is expected to be higher than the $530 per course price paid by the government. People who are on Medicare or Medicaid or who are uninsured will still be able to get Paxlovid for free through 2024 via a patient assistance program. But those with commercial insurance are likely to face a copay. And Family Dollar is recalling a large number of over-the-counter drugs and medical products that were sold in stores in nearly half of the country. The company says it is recalling the products because they were stored outside of label temperature requirements. The products were then shipped to 23 states and sold between June 1st and October 4th. The recalled products include over-the-counter cold medicine, vitamins, toothpaste, and children's medicine. Family Dollar says that it has not received any consumer complaints or reports of illness, and the recall is being done out of an abundance of caution. Customers can return the recalled products to the store without a receipt, and for more information about the specific states and products affected, go to the FDA.gov. As the situation in Israel and Gaza continues to unfold, many people far from the conflict are exposed to countless images of war, including children. The American Psychological Association has said that consuming violent and traumatic news can potentially in and of itself negatively affect mental health. Gloria Pazmino explains what parents and schools can do to protect their children.
While the images coming out of Israel in recent days have shocked the world, they are especially alarming for children who may hear and wonder why other children are among the affected and if they're safe.
images tend to stick in your mind in a very intrusive way.
Children look to adults for a sense of safety and security, even more so in times of crisis.
We all need to be using self-care and coping skills to take care of ourselves and to feel our feelings, to process our feelings.
Experts say you should account for a child's age when speaking to them about the war. Focus on those who are helping and keep checking in.
Start a conversation, but then you're going to follow their lead. So ask them what they know or what they've heard.
Conversations aren't just happening at home. The Los Angeles Unified School District sent letters to employees and families, including tips on how to protect children by helping them understand media coverage and limiting their exposure. And in New York City, the Department of Education is providing resources to schools to facilitate discussions about the conflict and reinforcing a zero-tolerance policy against bias and discrimination. In New York, I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
As we take a quick look outside, first we have the frost advisories for southeast Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma through the morning. The latest ones up north running through 10 a.m., so do be aware of that as it's a pretty cold start to the day. Quick look outside, we've got clear skies, Joplin and Pittsburgh, but cold temperatures, 39 in Joplin, 37 in Pittsburgh out there. And getting our morning started, it's going to be a chilly one. Some patchy fog in the rural areas should burn off by 9, and we're going to start to go mostly clear and into the low 50s by late morning. We do have some warmer weather on the way. That starts as early as today. We'll take a look at that full forecast a little later. And coming up, we're going to see how firefighters get special training for when they have to deal with some of those bad car accidents.
Welcome back to KOAM Fox 14 News. I have the honor of having Cody Howell live in studio with us. He is a local boy from Parsons, Kansas, who's made it big. He's in Nashville now, and he just released his latest song, which he just performed here live in studio, called Any Way You Go. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, Cody.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get to it. Born and raised in Parsons, how did you know that you wanted to be a musician?
Ooh, that's good. It was kind of my dad's a preacher at Calvary Baptist Church, and kind of just growing up being in music, I did song leading too at the church for a while, and just started playing guitar as he was playing guitar, and slowly got into it that way.
Now, it's the Nashville dream. It's very difficult. There's a lot of talent down there. How do you think that you were able to stand above the rest and get picked up? Because that's a huge honor.
I think mostly it's staying on the grind and just every little detail trying to get better at every day. Like, okay, make this voice thing a little better, learn this other way, learn this new guitar lick, and then keep writing. And that seems to have worked for me.
I love it. Well, you just performed it. It's a very cool song. Any Way You Go, where can people download it at?
It's on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming platforms. Any Way You Go, Cody Howell. And then as well, you can find me on all these social medias at Cody Howell Country.
All right, and you actually had the honor to be with the one and only Dolly, right?
That was
Dolly
awesome.
Parton. That's so cool. So you got to sing backup with her?
Yeah, there was 5 songs on her new Rockstar album that we were able to, because my producer is Kent Wells, he produces her as well. Mm-hmm. And so he hits me up and he's like, hey, you want to swing in here to the studio and do some background vocals? So I was like, yes.
Incredible. I mean, that's like amazing. Once in a lifetime kind of opportunities.
Yeah, no joke.
Look at you, making it big. So what's next for you? What can we expect?
So it's going to try to we got 7 songs on this EP. The first one's out, so it's getting the rest of the songs out. And then after I finish up college, then starting a tour. So
I love that. And you're also a veteran,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, we love our veterans.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. So make sure you check out Cody Howell's latest song, Any Way You Go. Download it. It's incredible. We're all supporting you here back at the 4 States. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, stay tuned. We got more news coming up after this.
When you get into a bad crash on the highway, first responders have special tools to get you out of the wreckage as quickly as possible. But using that equipment takes know-how and training.
That was the kind of specialized instruction being provided at a special training event this week in Virginia, hosted by the nonprofit Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Sarah Allen reports.
The first responders were working with tools by Hearst, commonly known as the jaws of life, that are used in the event of a trapped victim. Now, the use of the tool is not an easy skill, but a necessary one for first responders.
I mean, simple techniques around whether to cut, whether to spread, how to assess the way in which they need to go about extricating the patient from the vehicle is pivotal. And they have fractions of a second at the scene of an accident to do that. Here it gives them the chance to kind of slow down, take a step back, and make a much more calculated and thoughtful approach.
The over 40-pound tool can be used to cut, spread, and take apart a vehicle in minutes. And first responders say those minutes can be the difference between life and death. First responders also use the training to remind people to always wear their seatbelts and minimize distractions.
Definitely always be paying attention when you're driving, not only to what you're doing, but what the vehicles around you are doing as well.
The National Auto Body Council's First Responder Emergency Extrication Free program gives attendees the opportunity to practice emergency extrication techniques, so when they face a real emergency, they are prepared. The IIHS also uses this training to expand on their research to keep the roads safe.
What we have going on today complements a lot of the work that we are already doing to help prevent crashes, to make sure vehicles are safe when they do crash. And then, of course, we want to complete the circle, and when there are crashes, we want to make sure that occupants are going to be carted off as quickly as possible.
The two-day training totaled about 75 responders from all over the East Coast.
Of course, the nonprofit Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is best known for safety testing new vehicles using the famous crash test dummies. Not the musical group, the actual crash test dummies.
Oh yeah, we remember them. That'd be a good Halloween costume, actually. But they were able to supply first responders with plenty of wrecked cars so they could practice using the jaws of life.
An important training for sure.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, gas prices around the 4 states continue to fall. We'll show you which state in our area has the lowest.
And we've got some frost advisories out there. See, there's some of that patchy fog we've been talking about. We'll take another look at your forecast when the temperatures warm up when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:26 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. Fall can mean increased deer sightings in the 4 states, and that can mean an increase in deer collisions. Insurance experts say that the claims for collisions with deer rise during the fall, which is mating season. They also say there are simple ways to reduce your chances of deer collisions, such as slowing down, being aware and being alert, not relying on deer whistles, and by braking, not swerving. If you do hit an animal, move your car safely off the road and call the police or animal control. Damage from animal collisions is usually covered by auto insurance policies.
You could call 911 too. You could call 911. They would hook you up with a conservation agent. So, if a deer is immobilized on the road where it's causing a hazard to oncoming traffic or other traffic, you could call 911. But in most instances, the deer will go ahead and make it off the road. You don't need to worry about the deer. What you need to worry about is, are you all right and your vehicle's all right? And those are your two main worries.
Oklahoma leads the 4 states with the highest average chance of hitting a deer, followed by Kansas, Missouri, then Arkansas. And good news for drivers in the 4 states as gas prices look to be on their way down. The national average now sits at $3.60, a full 20 cents more than the highest 4-state average, which is Kansas at $3.41. Then Oklahoma at $3.26 and Arkansas with the lowest at $3.18. Gas prices may be even lower in some area counties. Crawford sits at $3.38, Ottawa County at $3.09, and Jasper County at $3 per gallon.
We've had those frost advisories in effect out there, and we've got ourselves a pretty cold start, but we are going to start to warm up. We're looking at mostly clear skies, and we'll eventually make it into the mid to upper 60s out there. As we head into this evening, well, again, mostly clear skies, a few clouds possible, partly cloudy overnight, and we'll go back into the upper 40s and low 50s. As we look ahead, temperatures continue to warm as we start to go into the low 70s, even upper 70s, and then we have increasing shower and thunderstorm chances by the next work week, even though our temperatures are going to remain above average in the mid to upper 70s. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Well, the Carthage School District held a Board of Education meeting last night at the Columbian Elementary School. The school district has been working on new benefits and salary packages for bus transportation. The goals of the new packages would be to increase trip pay, offer medical benefits and retirement benefits, with hopes to provide a more fiscally stable financial plan. But this change would also increase the hours of the drivers, which is causing a stir among bus drivers in the school district.
On the transportation side, we're going to be talking about new salary schedules, one that possibly offers benefits. We want to get that, really there's two phases of that. One would be for our brand new recruits that we'd bring into the program. The other side is trying to figure out how can we adjust our current salary schedule to accommodate our current drivers, the salary schedule we're on, and what a future salary schedule might look like that includes benefits.
The new rules are drastically going to affect every bus driver. We're all going to take a pay cut. It's easy math. You don't have to go to school for that math.
The school board will review the item and vote at the next school board meeting. Big rigs filled the Carthage Square yesterday. It's all part of the Maple Leaf Festival. Folks had the chance to get up close to the trucks and equipment vehicles and climb inside. Officials say it's a way for the community to learn about these trucks, which are vital to our economy.
You know, we see these vehicles, whether they're putting up power lines or fixing poles, and kids are curious. So this is a way for kids and families to talk to those individuals that provide those services for us to learn about what they do, try on the fireman's boots, and just have a really good time, and really maybe that's their new profession, that they want to be that fireman.
The Maple Leaf Festival will run through Saturday with events including a carnival, a parade, and tractor show. And students in Pittsburgh yesterday got out of the classroom. Parent-teacher conferences canceled classes, so the Parks and Rec Department hosted its Camp Now and Then. It's a chance for kids to play games, create crafts, and make new friends.
We're licensed by the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, so we do a lot of activities with them where they're educational. They can learn while they're having a good time. You know, during the summer we do field trips. They go to the pool 2 times a week, so it's a program where you know, they can learn and have a good time.
The camp is open for the community anytime the school district is not having classes. It's hosted at the Lincoln Center at Lincoln Park. And that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, we have Charlene Patton joining us in studio to teach us another delicious recipe.
And we've been talking about those chilly temperatures and some patchy fog. We'll tell you when it's going to warm up and how long it'll stay warm in your full forecast a little later on the KOAM Morning News. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Joining us again this week is the lovely Charlene Patton, all the way down from Topeka with the Kansas Soybean Commission. Charlene, welcome back to the show. Have had some fantastic recipes so far this month, and looking at what we've got here, looks like we're not done yet.
That's right. We're going to continue our apple theme, Chris, and look at this tart we're going to make. I love it. It is so pretty. It looks like a fancy dessert that you want to have, and it's so easy to make. I put the dough already in here so we could save a step, but again, it's using our margarine in there, and we talked about this last week, but make sure that you use a margarine that has a higher oil content.
Right.
It'll say right on the front of the package, and this one had 85%. So
Okay.
that's good for baking, and we'll want to do that. So after we've mixed that together, I've pressed it. You can use a rolling pin and roll it out, and then put it in the lined parchment pan.
Okay.
Because that parchment paper, then you can just line or get it out afterwards. Then what I'm going to do is just layer these. I've cut the apples. You can use any of your favorite baking apple that you find in the store, but layer those. You could go diagonal this way and make it very fancy. You could do all kinds of decorations, but you're just layering it there so we have all those apples. What do you think?
That's looking pretty good so far. And who doesn't like apples? Remember what they say, of course, you know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
That's
and this
right.
looks like at least a couple of apples in a day.
That's right. We'll quickly try to get the rest of these on here. You can help me if you
I was
want.
gonna say, you're considerably more skilled, but I think I could put an apple or two into some dough here.
And you know, I left the peels on because I think that red color with our apples, we'll use that one there. But just gives it a little bit more fiber to our diet, but it also adds that color to it that I think is nice. Hey, you did good.
All right. We've even got a couple left.
We did. Yes, there we go.
Okay,
all right.
Now that is nicely layered right there.
It looks beautiful, doesn't it? So now to this then, I have some sugar. And this is actually half a cup of sugar. And we're going to put that over the top of it. And then you have melted margarine there in that container. Would you want to? Nope. This one right here. That's
okay.
Okay.
See, this is why I'm not in the kitchen that often. So, but Charlene's here to help. So.
That's right. Now you can just start if you want to do it. Just go down each of that and just kind of dribble it. Yeah, each row. That just adds a little bit more flavor.
Okay.
Great. This is actually going to bake at 400 degrees for about 35 to, well, let me see, 45 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
I said 35 because I started checking it at 30.
Okay.
But it really did take, not quite, all the 60 minutes. And the bread or the dough down there will get nice and brown, and the apples. When it comes out, we're not going to do this, but I wanted to show you. This is apple jelly that I've mixed with a little apple juice, and we're going to just brush that on top when it comes out of the oven.
Okay, and that'll give it that nice finishing touch right there. Okay.
And then cut it into pieces. Take this out, and that'll help you to remove it and put it on a cutting board.
Excellent, and it looks delicious. And of course, apple glazed tart. If they want this recipe or any of the others we've had this month, what do they need to do?
They can go to our website at kansassoybeans.org. They can also call our 800 number, 877-KS-SOYBEAN. We'll mail you all the recipes for October.
And there's something else you've got in there as well.
That's right, a special bonus this month, so be sure to call because the first recipe we did for the month was the winning recipe for the Kansas Soybean Commission in the National Festival of Breads. And so you'll get that lovely recipe book, 4-color, and the Kansas Wheat Commission is helping us send that to everybody.
All right, thank you so much, Charlene. Of course, if you missed any of that, you just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:40 now on this Tuesday morning. Live look, MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We've got those clear skies out there and clear skies on the Kansas side. KDOT camera, US 69, East 520th, just south of Pittsburgh. Frost advisories, Northeast Oklahoma, Arkansas through 8 a.m., the bulk of Southeast Kansas through 9, and then our 2 northern counties in Southeast Kansas until 10 this morning out there because it is downright cold. We are sitting at 39 in Joplin, partly cloudy. As you can see, there's really a lot of clear skies, but a couple of clouds hanging on. South breeze at 6 makes it feel like it's 35, so we're starting to get a bit of a wind chill out there. Temperatures, man, look at some of these. 32, Parsons and Iola. 35, Yates Center. 32 also in Neodesha. 35, Chautauqua, Miami. 36, Pittsburgh. 38, Carthage. 39, Monette. 36, Neosho. So our 39 is really about the warmest temperatures we've got out there right now. We go through the morning. Some of the patchy fog we've been showing you, that's going to clear out by about 9 a.m. and leave us with mostly clear skies, temps in the low 50s by late morning. Our highs today, a little better than yesterday, mid-upper 60s, mostly sunny skies. Like yesterday, a few clouds possible, but otherwise not bad. And we head into the evening, same situation, mostly clear, a few clouds out there, and a bit warmer, still cool, but a bit warmer, upper 40s, low 50s. Temperatures will continue to warm into the low 70s heading into the end of the week. Increasing clouds through our Wednesday, maybe a stray shower or two late in the evening. Most of us will remain dry. We have a great end of the week, a beautiful weekend, in fact, above average, going near 80 by Sunday. Low 80s Monday, and then shower and thunderstorm chances increase. Temperatures staying above normal next week in the mid to upper 70s, but we're looking at better shower and thunderstorm chances out there, bringing us some additional much needed rainfall. That's a quick check of your forecast. Now here's Caitlin with Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, a federal agency is suing X, formerly known as Twitter, for wrongfully firing an employee over a return to office mandate. It happened when a company leader at X told employees that their resignations were implied if they failed to show up to the office. One employee reached out to coworkers on Slack and said they not only resigned and instead forced the company to fire them. The National Labor Relations Board alleges that the workers were fired for engaging in concerted activity. That's defined as when 2 or more coworkers band together to address workplace issues. Those actions are federally protected by law. A hearing on the complaint is scheduled for January 30th, but the parties could settle first. The NLRB has never issued a complaint against X before. It has reportedly cited Musk's other company, Tesla, for illegal anti-union activities. A former police officer in Connecticut who investigators describe as a serial burglar is facing charges for other misusing of a police database. Authorities say that the former officer could be responsible for more than 24 burglaries in 3 states. Dylan Fearon reports.
Yes, Your Honor. Patrick Hemingway used to be one of Glastonbury's finest. Tonight, he's a disgraced former cop in jail.
I cannot even believe that.
Kelly Stevens is like most people in town, shocked tonight, knowing Hemingway allegedly stole from the people he was supposed to be protecting.
That's awful. It's awful.
Hemingway was arrested last month after resigning as a Glastonbury officer. A judge sealed his warrant for 2 weeks, but tonight we know why he's locked up on $1 million bond. A detective suspects Hemingway is responsible for 30 or more burglaries in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, targeting safes and cash registers at restaurants, stealing cash. Police are still investigating, but claim they have surveillance video and cell phone data showing Hemingway breaking into businesses.
It certainly is disheartening to think that any law enforcement officer would be a suspect in something like this.
Hemingway may have dug himself a deeper hole. Officers have access to a law enforcement database full of records and criminal history, but it's only for investigations. Hemingway allegedly ran his name and cars through the database 80 times to see if he was being investigated for the burglaries.
He had to have known how and why and when he could utilize this system and wasn't thinking that a red flag would go up.
Hemingway is charged with a computer crime, not burglary, but a judge last month said this is just the beginning. More charges could be coming soon.
Hemingway is scheduled to return to court on November 15th, and we'll be right back with more after this. But first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. There are more than 1,000 people in South Carolina waiting for a kidney, but because of selflessness, a man in Mount Pleasant won't be joining that statistic.
He discovered his own cousin was a match. Kennedy Buck shares the emotional story.
She just put time on my clock. I can't beat that. I can't beat it.
Time was almost cut short for Myron Rivers, who has been having kidney problems since 2008. A problem that continued to get worse over the years.
2 years ago, they finally got to a point to where I had to be on dialysis. Was on dialysis for a year and a half. Went through the whole process of being on dialysis and dealing with being on the machine 10 hours a day. So that part, kind of started getting a little frustrating.
Frustration then turned to gratitude after being on the kidney donor list for a year. A call came in from his own family.
But then my little cousin Natasha went and got tested on her own, did everything, but I didn't even know she was doing it. And she went and got tested and called me and said, Myron, we're compatible and I'm going to donate a kidney to you.
Natasha Weston and her mom went and got tested on their own to see if either of them was a match for Rivers. After a few tests, Natasha ended up being the missing piece for her cousin.
And my prayer was basic. It was, if I'm supposed to be the person to donate the kidney to him, then let everything check out. Let all of the boxes check out. And literally every stage since that day, everything checked out.
Weston says there were many questions along the way, wondering if this would affect her own health and future. But in the end, The love of family became her only answer.
I just couldn't imagine needing an organ and not wanting to ask my family. And so I'm just glad that I had the heart and the mind to do it. And that's what fighting together means to me, is taking on each other's burdens and seeing what we can do as a team to help each other.
I don't think I can ever thank her enough, because I don't think that many people would have done it. And she just volunteered to do it.
Now officially kidney cousins, Weston and Rivers are encouraging more people to do what they can in order to save a life.
Donating a kidney or donating any of your organs is detrimental to life going on for somebody else. If you're not here and your parts are still good, why not donate them to give somebody else life?
Weston says before becoming an organ donor, educate yourself, do your research, and talk with your friends and family.
Certainly an incredible story, and it was fantastic that it worked out that his cousin was a match and she was
So
willing
lucky,
to donate.
right?
Because as we mentioned, more than 1,000 folks on that waiting list in South Carolina alone. Well, we've got a pretty darn cold start out there for it. Doesn't look that way from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. See plentiful sunshine, pretty clear skies out there. And you get the same view from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. Plentiful sunshine, but temperature's still cold. Frost advisories, Oklahoma, Arkansas through 8 a.m. Most of southeast Kansas here. These are until 9. And our 2 northern counties, they run until 10 o'clock this morning. Quick look outside, 39 in Joplin with those clear skies. Clear skies in Pittsburgh sitting at 36 degrees right now. We get our morning started again, not looking too bad. Some patchy fog, not much out there, but some, and that'll burn off by about 9 a.m. And then we'll start to see skies clearing out. We're looking at maybe a few clouds through the day, otherwise sunny, and we will eventually warm up, even though we're only into the low 50s by late morning. We'll have another look at your forecast, just how warm it's going to get, and have the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The device was discovered yesterday morning at the Murphy USA gas station on South Madison. A portion of the parking lot was closed off by the police, but other surrounding businesses remained open and were unaffected. Webb City Police requested aid from the bomb squad of the Springfield Fire Department, who determined the device was not a threat. The Carthage School District held a Board of Education meeting last night at the Columbian Elementary School. The school district has been working on new benefits and salary packages for bus transportation. The goals of the new packages would be to increase trip pay, offer medical benefits and retirement benefits, with hopes to provide a more fiscally stable financial plan. But this change would also increase the hours of the drivers, which is causing a stir among bus drivers in the school district. And anyone trying to file electronically with the Kansas court system recently found themselves unable to do so. The Kansas court's e-filing system has been offline since the judicial branch experienced a security incident late last week. The security incident affected several systems used daily by courts statewide, including the e-filing system attorneys use to file documents and cases, and the case management systems district and appellate courts use to process cases. Courts are open and operating, but clerks cannot receive electronic filings or electronic payments. All filings must be on paper or by fax.
All right, after this cold start, we're going to warm up. Mostly sunny skies, a few clouds here and there into the mid to upper 60s by the afternoon, and not bad through the evening. Mostly clear skies, partly cloudy overnight. A little warmer, but not by much, back into the upper 40s, low 50s. And then take a look at the week ahead and even into next week. Temperatures warming into the low 70s. A stray shower or two possible tomorrow evening. Otherwise, a great end to the week. Great weekend. Temperatures well above average next week with a few shower and thunderstorm chances.
Lovely. Well, a miniature prop from the original Star Wars movie sold for an out-of-this-world price. Heritage Auctions says the X-Wing starfighter model, known as Red Leader, sold for $3.1 million at the estate sale of the late visual effects artist Greg Jean.
Now, the model was used during the Rebel Alliance's attack on the Death Star in Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope in 1977. The entire sale made more than $13 million and is the second highest grossing Hollywood auction behind Debbie Reynolds' estate sale in 2011. So certainly somebody managed to get themselves an impressive piece of history. And as everybody all knows, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. They had a big auction a few years ago. Somebody got the actual gigantic Enterprise model.
so
from
mad
the
it wasn't
movies.
you?
I was disappointed. However, I've seen, like, there's these polar light models. They actually light up and everything. That big old model doesn't quite light up the way you saw in the movies. You've got to do some of your own work on that. But still, to have that in the house, I would probably have been divorced, so it's probably best that it went to somebody else.
Oh, Chris, you're amazing.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your day, 4 States.